Hey, and welcome to the series around disability travel in COVID-19. In this episode, we are looking at asking what is the most frustrating thing that you find about traveling with a disability by air. So let's listen in and see what people have to say.
The first one is the amount of time we spend waiting. So we have to check in earlier as wheelchair users, which is often an additional hour. And in my case, it's kind of, I see it as unnecessary. And also, getting to the gate like an hour before boarding, again, it's such a shocking waste of time when you want to be going through the airport, having the passenger experience with your buddies. So that really frustrates me, and especially if we don't get boarded first as hoped and we end up waiting additional time and we're last on. So there, that's super frustrating.
I think it's that I have to give my personal needs, like being lifted onto the plane, and all the weight and dimensions of my equipment, like my wheelchair, my shower chair, sometimes my mobile hoist. I have to give that information multiple times. That's frustrating, and definitely frustrating having to get lifted out of my wheelchair because I'm so much more comfortable in it, and it's uncomfortable sitting on a plane seat, and not being able to go to the loo on the plane is frustrating as well. But I have travelled, I've lost count how many times, and I do enjoy going in a plane, like the being up in the clouds, and the fact that you're going to some new adventure, new destination is positive, so that's why I do it. But I have to say it's certainly not my favourite form of transport due to having a disability.
For me, the most frustrating thing is the disconnect between what I request in terms of assistance, what I'm promised in terms of assistance, and what is actually provided. And when things go wrong, the fault is often presumed to be mine and not to be of the service that isn't working efficiently.
I think the most frustrating thing I find when I'm traveling overseas, particularly if I'm traveling on my own, is my own anxiety before I travel. I'm an independent person. I live on my own, and when I go to an airport, I am to some extent putting my well-being in the hands of somebody else, and for me that gives me a lot of anxiety. What I find is, to get over that, is that I do some research. So I have a look at the airport before I travel, so I have some idea of where I'm going to be going. I also check out with the airline to see what assistance they offer and make sure that they are aware that I'm turning up without my assistance. And I think I'm most frustrated by it because every time I travel, it's actually all right and I actually really enjoy it. So for me, I think I need to travel more to get over that.
I travel with my power wheelchair, and every single time I go to the airport, it's such plain roulette. You don't know what you're gonna get. It could be all smooth. They're expecting you. There's no funny questions. You get right through, and there's no problems. Other times you can get asked a million things about themselves, things that doesn't matter, like the battery voltage and stuff. But that's not a question to ask. And and you have to really like argue away and help them understand how the English work. The most common comment I get is, "Oh, you need to take out the battery," and that isn't true for my kind of chair. So explaining that every single time can get quite frustrating.
Poor service from special assistance staff, the lack of consistency. It's usually hit or miss whether the assistance would be any good.
So there you have it. Waiting times is clearly a frustration. Giving up your personal independence, giving your chair away. having to provide information multiple times at different stages of the journey is clearly a pinch point for a lot of disabled passengers, and also the disconnect between what it is that you've requested for assistance versus what you actually get. I think that's quite a common issue out there that's maybe not so publicized as much. But yeah, there you have it. There's the views, and hopefully that's insightful.